Hello, hello there, my crafty friends. It is Candy here from sweetstamper.com, and I am flying by the seat of my pants more than usual. I've got house guests here. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law are visiting us from Florida, and we just got home from going out to visit my son and his family. So I've been playing with grandkids, and that's why I had to delay my Facebook Live, because there was no way we could get back in time. So, but you know what? The show must go on. Here I am, and very glad to be here with you. Just getting all of my technology set up here. Okay, everything's looking pretty good. Lighting's pretty good. We're going to have a little blending brush fun. Hello, Corinne and Kelly and Kathy. Thank you so much for joining me. And thank you so much for sharing. Got a couple of you sharing on here, and that's always very helpful, so I appreciate that. We're going to make something fun, and I'm going to show you a few tips and tricks on this Frosted Forest bundle. It's a really interesting bundle. I like it a lot. There's a couple more dies that I'm using. The things I'm using I've already pulled out of here. So let me show you what's what. For this project and for the projects in my little fall stamp camp, you are going to need a couple of blending brushes. I will tell you that these come in two sizes. I actually prefer the smaller ones. I have fairly small hands, and I find this bigger one is a little bit harder for me to control. It's a little bit heavier. I mean, I work with it. It's fine. Initially, we only had the large. I think these are called regular. And then the small ones came out, and this is just easier to, I find easier to maneuver. So that is just a little quick tip. And these come in sets of 3, so they're very affordable. I find like I'm going to be using 3 different shades of green. I'm just using one brush for all 3 shades of green. I do know people who use a separate brush for each shade. Well, we have a lot of colors, so that's a lot of brushes. And I'm a practical girl, and so I find that just kind of rubbing it in between is enough, and then giving it a good wash, you know, depending on how much work I've done with it, giving it a wash in between. So this is the one I'm going to be using for the brown, and this is the one I'm going to be using for 3 different greens. So let me get my shades out for you. You know, I'm usually kind of a 1 or 2 stamp pad girl. I am using 5 stamp pads tonight. So this is definitely a little bit different from what I typically do, but I think you're going to like it and have fun with it. And I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to use this bundle. Now, a couple of things. This bundle is actually unavailable right now. It will be back in about a week, but I will tell you why I think it's unavailable. So when you get the bundle, the stamp set alone is $21. If you get the bundle, it's $64.75, which might sound a bit dear. However, not only do you get all the dies in the stamp set, you also get, hold on, let me pull it, all of these awesome, here we go. All of these amazing masks. Now, masks is just Stampin' Up's word terminology for, hey, Chrissy, I'm glad you're here for, this is kind of tight in here. This is Stampin' Up's terminology for stencils. So these are really just stencils, and they are super fun to use, and I like them a lot. So they're very durable. So you get, okay, so back to, okay. I'm getting a little bit sidetracked. So these are the 2 I'm using tonight for what I like to think of as kind of an aspen tree. These are all for the different sizes. I could use this one as well. Maybe we'll do a little bit of that one too. These are for the evergreen trees. And, oh, I didn't put that one out. And there's 2 different sizes that you can use with these masks for lots of fun layers. So you get all of this for $64.75, which I think is a great deal. These little notches are here, and they have letters on them, so you can tell them apart, A, B, and C. all of this comes together at a bundle price, which is 10% off. Well, I think what's happened is I think people were buying the bundle, which we're used to being stamps and dies, and then going and buying the masks separately, which you can, which has caused this to go out of stock when this hasn't, but the whole bundle. So that, to me, that is the only reason this would go out of stock, because you really need this to go with this. Okay, so I will show you why. Okay, so let's get a little bit of demonstration going here. And like I said, I'm going to use these two, actually three. Let's go with three tonight. And we will just have some fun. Okay, so I am going to show you a couple of things. I actually have a little stamp camp going, and there's a little registration. And so we are making, I'll show you the cards we're making, and then this is like an extra project that you can just have a free tutorial for. So I think, yeah, that's going to go there. Oh, I forgot to get my designer paper. Okay, let me grab a little piece of designer paper, and I'll show you. So with my fall stamp camp, I'm using this bundle. Some of you already have this. It's an online exclusive, and it was released, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 months ago. I think it was released in August. So this is my fun fold. I'm pairing it with this twine, the trio of twine. Now this is on back order, and it will not be available. Hey, Lena, it has been a minute. This will not be available till the first week of November, which is past the time I wanted to send this out. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm either going to have to substitute, or I'm going to have to send these out a bit later than I had planned. So there's my fun fold. I typically have at least one fun fold in my classes. This is a kind of a quick, easy, but elegant. I love the gold embossing on this. And then this is another one where we're using some gold embossing here. And all of this comes, now not the gold embossing, you have to stamp, but all of these die cuts come with your card kit. Now this is a little riff on what we're doing tonight. So this is using the masks, and then this card uses just the dies here, but then we stamp and die cut the birds. And then this one, so this is kind of going winter. To me, these are more fall, but then you're getting into winter with the bare trees, and then winter with really kind of Christmas cards. You could definitely do Christmas cards with this, but I did it just because. So, and this is all the designer paper I'm using on all of these, and you're going to make 2 each of these 6 cards for my stamp camp. The paper I'm using is this really lovely autumn paper. And not only do you have all of these pretty scenes, but you have these great watercolor wash backgrounds, which means you can use these. I mean, that green can be used year round. This is very much an autumnal scene, but look at that. The copper clay I love. Look at those deep greens. So you have these really cool scenes, and then you have, I mean, to me, you can make a great Christmas card with that. So I think this is an extremely versatile paper. Oh, isn't that beautiful? We had a harvest moon coming home for my sons tonight. We were all just admiring it coming home. So a lot of and then look. Now these, when we lived in England, we called these Michaelmas daisies, and they were just gorgeous. They were very prolific this time of year, but I love, look at that. We even have some Highland heather thrown in there. So you can see this pack of paper is extremely versatile. You can kind of use it year round. Even that scene, I don't think that looks overly autumny. But then look at that beautiful azure afternoon. And of course, look at those yellow asters. Well, like mini sunflowers, asters. And then the other side here. Now this one's definitely autumn trees. And then this one is definitely autumn scenes. So I really like these. And I do love this particular side. I love the Moody Mauve on there. And so then there you have some more balmy blue. So some great papers, and you do get that pack of paper. You get these dots with your stamp camp, and you're meant to get these, but we may have to switch up and go to this ribbon. So that's what I'm going to use tonight, just to kind of show you, in case I have to go in that direction, how we can do that. Now I do need a small piece of this designer paper. Let me see. Ay, ay, ay. Well, you know what? Let's see. I was trying to not use one that I haven't opened up. So I think I'm going to switch gears a little bit and go with this. I think it'll still work with my color scheme. I'm also, in this one I was playing around with, I used Lemon Lime Twist, which I'm using that ink, but I think I'm going to try tonight to use the Old Olive, and we'll kind of play with it a little bit and see what we come up with. So let me just trim this down a bit, and then we will start some blending brush action. So let's trim this down. I need this to be 5 by 2. And okay, so Lena's happy about prepping these. Yay. She is part of my prep team. Oh, I don't even have a trimmer blade on here. How crazy is that? I just have a scoring blade. Wow. I don't know what happened to that. Okay, wow. Okay, let me go to my cutting station. I shall return. Okay. So let's just change this up a little bit. Who knows? We might even use that side of the paper. And let's see where we go. Okay. So we are going to work with this white, basic white panel, and we are going to start by stamping. Now I will tell you that I tried doing the masks first and then the stamping. Yeah, it was much more difficult to place the tree. So one of my top tips is that you stamp the tree first. And I am going to use my darkest shade here, which is Early Espresso, because to me, I'm going to either stamp this. Hey, Dudley, I'm glad you're joining us. I'm either going to stamp this in a brown or a green because of the trunk and the outline of, you know, the leaves. And so I don't really want to have green on my tree trunk. So now I could, you know, do 2-color stamping. Yeah, I just can't be bothered with that right now. So I'm just going to stamp the whole thing in Early Espresso. Now comes the fun. So we're done with the stamp, but I'm going to use my brushes here, and I'm going to use a little piece of tape. So I've got a couple of pieces of washi tape that I was using over here, and I just find that I don't use it for the mask, but I do use it for the piece of paper because I don't want it to shift. Okay, so let's see, here we go. I'm going to start with this mask here, and I'm just going to line it up right over the tree trunk, like so. And I find that if you look for the little tiny branches here, that is going to be your best bet. And I'm using pecan pie to fill in. Now, one of the things that you'll find when you use these masks is you don't have to be as careful with your blending brush as you do when you're going straight blending brush. You don't have anything around, because you see all this is going to pick up my excess. And so I don't have to worry nearly as much about getting like markings on my paper because that's kind of picked up by the mask itself. And as I add more ink, you see how it's getting darker and darker. So depending on how much ink I add, it will continue to deepen the color. Now, you can see why I'm using pecan pie and not Early Espresso. The Early Espresso would obliterate the pretty stamping underneath there. Now, let's see what's going to happen when I lift this up. Voila. Now, all I have to do is all I have to do is wash this. And you can just use a baby wipe on it. You can run it under clear water. That's all that's necessary. Now, I was off just a tiny bit on my placement. Actually, it just kind of adds to the charm. I'm not worried about that whatsoever. Okay. Now, we're going to get several shades of green using 2 different masks and 3 different inks. So let's start with this one, and I actually have a little bit of washi on this mask. So let's just go ahead and use it. So you can see how you just line it up, and you do want to try to get the masks so that they cover particularly the inside tree trunk. These branches, you really want to cover those with the mask as much as you can. So now I'm going to start with my lightest color. You know what? I think I am. Yeah, I got another little piece of tape here. Let's just use it. Another little piece of washi. You can use it over and over again for the most part. I'm going to go with my lightest color first and then build up. So let's start. You know, this looks like it needs to come down just a wee bit. Yeah, let's see. When you have the washi already on there, it wants to stick. Okay, let's try this one more time. I will say this is when you kind of have to stand over your project so that you get a better placement on it. Okay. And then once that's set, that's probably the hardest thing you're going to do, is just kind of get that placement to the best of your ability. Okay, now I'm going to use my lemon lime twist. And you can see I've had this in several colors, but I'm just going to run it here. And yeah, nothing too, nothing too big there. So I'm going to come in here with my lemon lime twist, and I'm just going to begin to add color. And I like to start light and then build the color as you go. And you can build the color with several layers, as it were, of the color. So this is lemon lime twist, pretty light right here. But now watch what happens when I just continue to go over it and add layer upon layer upon layer of that lemon lime twist. You see how much it deepens. But I don't want to just make it all the same. So I'm going to kind of leave a little bit kind of light and darken some of it, not all of it. Now I'm going to just kind of rub this off a little bit. It's really not a big deal. And then I'm going to come in with some garden green. That's my next, that's kind of my medium. Oh, Lena's telling me that the my cutting blade I'm missing is behind the die cutting machine. Probably fell out earlier. Okay. So now I'm going to take some garden green, and now I'm going to just come behind here, and I'm going to add it not to the whole tree. You can see how it's really deepening the color in parts of the tree, but not the whole tree, because I want to have some variation of color like what you see in nature. You know, trees for the most part have a lot of different shades in them. And you can see, in my other sample, I used very autumnal colors. This time I'm using just kind of evergreen colors. This could be any time of year. And then you can kind of vary it with, the layers and stuff behind. Now I am going to shift this mask, lift it. Looks pretty good already. I like it. I like it a lot. But I am going to add one more little bit. And this time I'm going to add some, let me see. I want to add a little bit, am I on the right side? Yeah, this is 3. I want to add a little bit of this really deep mossy meadow. I think I'm going to go right about there. Yep, okay. So now I'm going to find my washi again, which is somewhere, or maybe I'm just going to hold it because I'm only using one ink pad. So let's try some mossy meadow. And let's just add a little bit more of this deep, deep green. I don't want to really kind of obliterate it. I just want a little bit. So let's just see. Ooh, look how deep that is. See, well, I don't want to have too much. Now let's see what's happening. Oh, now look at that. Look at the depth. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. That's all. But look at what that's done. You see how that's added that extra depth of color? So I'm actually pretty happy with that. And I am going to die cut it. So that is going to be my next step. And I'm just going to lift my washi. I'm going to put it over here on my glass mat studio because then I can use that. I mean, like I was using this earlier. You can reuse that several times. It still has quite a bit of sticky. So now what I should do is actually do my little birds over here at the same time, because that way I can just run it all through the die cutting machine while I have it out. So what I'm going to do is I am going to stamp my birds with early espresso. The ones I did earlier I did in pecan pie. Let's just see what we like here. So I'm going to do one bird over here and one bird over here, because I can just run that through the die cutting machine after I do the tree, because I'm going to use my mini cut and emboss. I think all of these dies from the Frosted Forest, I think is the name of this. I think all the dies go through the mini cut and emboss. And before I do that, I'm just going to take my Wink of Stella, and this is going to bleed out that color and give my bird just kind of a tan beigey color, kind of a really soft brown, because the Wink of Stella is pulling that ink right into the white space. So all of that is ready to die cut. And what I did was I already pulled my dies and I had a little scrap of magnet, and that just kind of helped contain everything. And then there's my greeting. So let's see how we can get this going. Okay, here we go. So here is the mini cut and emboss. Oh, that's going to have to be trimmed down a little bit. So, and my trimming blade is over somewhere else. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do like this. And I think that will go through very nicely. And I have some cutting the plates, which I just had. Here we go. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Now this one's getting really bowed and a little bit cracked. I just brought this home from retreat where a lot of people were using this. But I think it still has a little bit of life in it. So I'm not going to live quite as dangerously as doing all of this at once. So I'm going to actually do this one here. I'm going to get this all lined up just where I want it. I'm going to put a little washi tape on there just in case, because I don't want all of my blending brush action to go by the wayside. So let's see. I thought this kind of looked like a cypress tree. Somebody said they thought it looked like an aspen tree. To me, it looks a little bit like a cypress tree. But so my top tip with using this mini is you've got to jag your cutting plates. You don't want to have everything in there exactly even, or it doesn't want to go through. When you jag them like that, it just goes right through with no problem whatsoever. So there is my tree, and I think it looks really cool. So there we go. And then I'm going to go back in with my this little guy here. There's actually 2 bird dies, 1 stamp, 2 dies. So I can come back with this little guy here. See? And I can put both of them on the on my cut and emboss plates at the same time. And I can cut them out. Like I said, I think this stamp set, this whole bundle thing with the masks and the dies, you could get just the dies and the stamps. But I think you buy them separately. I think the bundle contains everything. I need to clarify that. But I'm thinking, why would you not want all the elements? I think you could make beautiful sympathy cards with this, even though there's not a sympathy greeting in this. Most of us already have sympathy greetings. And so I'm thinking there's a really pretty birthday greeting, which I'm going to use tonight. And there's a tiny little thank you that's really nice. And there is also kind of a "you're awesome" kind of greeting. So the greetings in this bundle are good, but I do think, oh, did it shift on me just a little bit? Just a little bit, not bad. I didn't washi it down, so, but I think it's okay. So these little guys are going to go here, and that is going to be put aside over here. Okay, now let's put it all together and see what we come up with. So I wanted this, I'm using Lemon Lolly because I wanted to lighten it. I didn't want it to be too dark. And so initially I was using a piece here that had that was mainly wild wheat. But now I've introduced this. Oh, I think I might like it better. And I don't actually know that I need the ribbon going down the center. I might put a little ribbon across. So let's kind of play with it and see what we come up with. Yeah, I think it's actually not bad, but I think I'm going to turn it over. I like that, was it kind of copper clay? Yeah, definitely copper clay. So let's go ahead and put this piece down. This is just a 5x2 piece of Designer Series paper. And like I said, I think this All About Autumn, I think is the name of this designer paper. I think you can use it year-round. A lot of great colors. I mean, a ton of colors in this paper. You've got your blues, you've got your kind of rusts, you've got your greens, you've got a little bit of purple. And, yeah, Chrissy, I think you're talking, yeah, the soil. Yeah, it all just kind of works together. So I think it's really good for anything to do with nature. Okay, so I think I'm actually, my original, well, let's see what we're going to do. Do I have that ribbon in here? I got a few little dots here to use. And I do want to put my greeting down here. You know what? Let's just go ahead and use, these aren't available at the moment, but we're going to go ahead and use this because I really like it. And I think that and this would maybe look really good together. So I wonder, do I want to kind of put this underneath here like, oh, I think that's going to work. Okay. So this is how we just play and have fun with it and enjoy the creative process. So have I already put this down? Yes. Okay. So the way I like to do a little bit of zigzag ribbon on here, or twine, I should say, is I'm actually going to put some Seal Plus here, and that's going to help anchor this. Now I want to tuck the end here, and then I want to just kind of zigzag this, kind of figure eight it. And I'm going to put this here just so I can kind of tell. I want it to stick out a little bit. And I think then I'm going to come back up here, and you see how that Seal Plus, you could use Seal as well, but I do like the Seal Plus when you're using ribbon or twine. But I don't want that, personally, I just don't want that, that raw end out there. So I'm going to tuck it in, and then I can put that over, and it just gives that nice little bit. And you can still kind of manipulate it a little bit once you get it on. So if you loop is too round, you can just kind of make it skinnier. So let's take this one and make it a little bit skinnier, and then you just press and it keeps it in place. So I really like to do it that way, and I think I'm going to put it up on little mini dimensionals because I want it to kind of float above this, and that will also help to secure it into place. So remember, I'm sharing the, what's it called? Frosted Forest Bundle. And I do have a little stamp camp, a little fall stamp camp with a couple of a couple of fall projects, because really we're still really early in fall. And then a couple of more winter projects, and that's just kind of showing the versatility of this, and also this time of year. I love Christmas cards, but you know what? We gotta wait. We're not there yet. Yes, some people have already made their Christmas cards, but a lot of us haven't. And it's kind of like we were in a Chinese restaurant this week. Like I said, my sister-in-law, my brother-in-law are visiting here from Florida, and there's a really good Chinese restaurant just really close to our house. And we went in the other day, hadn't been in a few months. They already had the Christmas trees up on the wall. They were playing Christmas music, and my sister-in-law said, wow, we haven't even gotten to Halloween. They're already playing Christmas. These people are going to be so sick of this music by the time December comes around. And I do, you know, I love Christmas. It's sincerely my favorite holiday. However, I don't want to get ahead of everything. I don't want to shortchange. I don't want to shortchange fall. I don't want to shortchange Halloween. I don't want to shortchange Thanksgiving. I don't want to shortchange the season that we're in and rush headstrong into Christmas. So that's, you know, that's kind of the method and my madness behind this fall stamp camp. It's a little bit not my favorite. It didn't come out the way quite I wanted it. Do I want to get it up here and mess with it? Possibly. Yeah, let's just go for it. This hasn't really stuck down yet. So what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do, and I love Christmas music, but I do, I'm like you, Corinne. I think you said you don't like to listen to it until after Thanksgiving. I do, I agree. I do try to hold off until then. And now, if I'm doing an event and we're doing Christmas projects, I do love to play Christmas because I think it sets the mood for what you're doing. But just to play it like all the time at home, yeah, that's just not where I want to be. Oh, I think I like that better. It's a little bit neater, a little bit tidier. Yeah, I think that's going to work. Yeah, I like a little bit of texture there, but it was a little bit too loopy. Okay, so I think that's going to work better. I'm going to come in here with my Early Espresso ink. On my original, I used pecan pie, but I think because I've got this darker designer paper over here, I think this is going to work better. And this says birthday wishes for a day as great as you are. Now, we have a lot of fall birthdays in my family, and I'm assuming there's a lot of people born in the fall. So I think this card, now I could leave it like that, and I think that would be a good guy card. I don't think the yellow is too girly, but I am going to, and I think even adding these is not going to make it too girly, but I do want to add a few of these gold dots. And this is one of the items that you do get with the stamp camp that I'm doing. And one of the things I love to do with these events is to give you items that maybe you wouldn't put together on your own, and just kind of give you, I mean, it's just, you know, it's just a trim, neat, oh, the birds, thank you. I knew there was something missing. I thought, gosh, this seems a little bit plain. Okay, thank you, Lena. Where are my birds? Where did they go? Ah, here we go. All righty. Now, what I'm going to do with these little guys is I am going to cut a mini dimensional. Actually, these little edge pieces are perfect for this because I need a really skinny one to go right across these birds. Oh, that's going to be the perfect touch. I knew this seemed like it was missing a little something. But I don't want to overcomplicate when you have something like this kind of image here where we've got all this, we have all of the blending brush action. I don't want to be too fussy with my, let's see, actually I'm going to pull him and make him, angle him down just a little bit where he's kind of, well, maybe not. Okay, let's see. There we go. Okay, he's going way up and he's going right across looking for the tree to land in. Hey, Gail, I'm glad you joined me. Yeah, Kathy, I think it is very workable for a masculine card. You could add the birds or not. And even though they have a little bit of Wink Stella, it just gives them a little bit of shine. So I think trees just go with everything. So I think, like I said, this could easily, you could put a sympathy note here. And again, because these, I really like these dots. These are actually an online exclusive item, and they're called gold textured adhesive back dots. I like them because they're not flashy like metallic gold. So they're really the color gold, but not metallic. So that is it. And let me show you. Here was my original where I used the ribbon. Not nearly as keen as the twine, which I'm hoping will come back in time for my camp. And so if you want to do these cards with me, I have, we will be making packets for this, and you get 2 each of these 6 cards. And like I said, you've got some fall, you've got some winter, I've got snowflakes here, you've got winter here, you've got fall here, you've got fall, although I think that's kind of year round. This is definitely more year round, although, yeah, fall, summer, you could kind of get away with a lot there. So you get 2 each of these 6 designs. I've just given you a 7th design for free. So there's everything you need to make these cards times 2. You get your envelopes, you get your PDF tutorials. Now let me show you just by comparison. So this one I did, and I used the blending brushes and I used the masks. I didn't use the stamp. So you can see the difference when you use the stamp and the definition. But in this one, you get kind of a more artsy look. And I really like them both. There's that little thank you. It's just a tiny one. But you don't need a lot with this. And here I used the scene of the designer paper behind it. Here I used the watercolor wash piece, or the kind of almost looks like canvas fabric or something. So that is a wrap for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of a tips and tricks video on using the masks that are part of this Frosted Forest bundle. And I hope you will consider doing my stamp camp and learning some fun things and making some beautiful, beautiful projects with this fabulous bundle that I think has some real year-round use for it. So Dudley, I'm so glad you were here. It's great to see you, and I'm glad that you've enjoyed the ideas I've been able to share tonight. Make sure that you are signed up for my email news. I think everybody I see here tonight is, but if you're on the replay, make sure you sign up for my email news, because I am in the throes of the 12 weeks of Christmas. A set of free tutorials. Every Friday you get a free tutorial for 12 weeks straight. So that is it for me. My sister-in-law, brother-in-law here, and the word games await me downstairs. We are playing alliterations and Scrabble, and the competition is fierce, and I'm in last place at the moment. So we shall see if my creativity has helped spark my my skill at the game for tonight. Okay, thanks again for tuning in. Take care, and God bless.